Good morning, my class.
Good morning, Mr. Roger.
It's so good to see you all. Likewise. Oh, thank you. It is not the 20th today. It's the 25th. We started this lesson on Friday of last week, or on Thursday of last week, or sometime last week. And we are finally finishing it up today, which is the 25th of March. Abdi, my good friend Abdi in our class, collects rocks. Abdi collects rocks. He is part of a rock collecting club that needs to make $500 so that they can make rent for the month. So what they decided to do is sell rocks. And they have a vendor who supplies them rocks for $2.50. They turn around and they make some profits off of these rocks by selling them for $4. The question is, how many rocks must they sell to make rent? Or what is the least amount of rocks they must sell to make rent? And we're going to solve it using an inequality because anything above and beyond the $500, they are going to keep. So the question is, what is the least amount of rocks that they need to sell to make rent? And it would just be good to know if they sell more, how much money they're ultimately going to make by having this inequality in place. So does anybody have a formula, not a formula, but an inequality that they wrote that they think may be the ticket to punching this into the computer that the rock collecting club has so they know how many rocks they must collect? What is the formula? I mean?
$4 X month. $4 X minus 250X.
450x minus 250x? Or 4x?
4X.
What's x going to represent?
The amount of rocks you need to sell.
Okay, so you're going to say x equals what we're solving, right? Amount of sold rocks. And you're going to say $4 x, because they're selling x amount of rocks for $4,
Yeah.
minus
250X.
250x, and what does that represent?
The amount they're buying the rocks for.
Okay, so they're buying an x amount of rocks for 250.
Is greater than or equal to
It is greater than or equal to
$500.
500. And it definitely has to be equal to, right? Because we want to know the least amount, but they can go over and be happy too. Okay, you guys agree with that? Just for kicks and giggles here, you do not need to write this down, but you may do $4 minus 250x, right? Because they're buying for 4, or they're selling for 4, they're buying for 250, and that's going to be the same thing that Abdi came up, or that Amin came up with. Okay, but this way is fine as well. Some of you may say, Mr. Pottinger, what about 1.5x? Because when you combine like terms, Amin, what do you get? 1.5x. My thought is the more you can show me, the better. The more you can show me, the better. So if you started off with 1.5x, I would love it if you would give me this to start with. So 1.5x is greater than or equal to 500 after you combine like terms. What does 1.5x represent, Amin?
The amount they have to, 1.5X is the money they earn as a profit times the amount of rocks they need to sell.
So for every rock they sell, how much money do they make?
150.
They make $1.50, right? So for every rock they sell, they're going to pocket $1.50. Because remember, they already paid $2.50 for all these rocks. So ultimately, they want to know how many should we buy just to make rent. So, I mean, what's next?
Divide by 1.5.
Divide by 1.5. And I mean, clean it up.
You get 333 and 1/3.
333 and 1/3. So, what do you want to put for an answer? First of all, do you think that you can buy 1/3 of a rock?
No, I think you should round up to 334.
Yeah, because 333 is not going to get the job done, is it?
Nope.
333 is not going to give you $500, but 334 is definitely going to give you $500 and plus a little bit more, right? So be careful with what the question's asking you. You're not splitting rocks, splitting hairs. We're not splitting hairs here, we're splitting rocks, but we're not going to split rocks. So x is greater than or equal to 334, and I mean, we're not done because with inequalities we must always do what?
Make a graph.
Graph. And if you put 334 in the middle, what are you going to put on the left and on the right?
On the left, put 335.
335?
Wait.
We go from left to right when we read, right?
Oh yeah, 33.
333.
Negative 335.
Good. And then how would we graph this inequality?
You put a giant black dot, and a dot, and then you go
Our
to the
blue.
right.
We go to the right because we know that anything above 334 rocks is going to be good. 334 and above. Okay? Smart people do what? Check their work. So should 334 work in your problem? Yes. So 334, go ahead and plug it in. When you plug in 334 for both x's in the original, is it greater than or equal to 500? It's from Frozen. It's that song when she sings. The clock part. I watched the movie like 1,000 times this weekend since we bought it. Does it work or not?
Yep.
Yes, it works. Excuse me. And inequalities, should you probably try to plug in a number that should work just to make sure it doesn't work?
Yep.
So according to my graph, should 333 work? No. So if you plug in 333 for $4 times 333 minus 250 times 333, it should not be equal to or greater than 500, correct? And are you finding that to be true? Sweet. Questions on this problem? Yes, Niall?
Technically you could do 333.
Technically you cannot because I sell the rocks to you and I'm not splitting any rocks. So we're technically not going to talk about it. But technically if you put that on your paper, I will technically mark them all wrong. How's that technically sound? You got questions on that?
You can make a geo.
You got questions on that? Good. Technically we're done.